And he's flooding your streets with poison that kills, that's drugs, and violence. And right now, the most dangerous man in Mexico, billionaire cartel leader El Chapo, is still on the loose, following his incredible escape from a maximum security Mexican prison. And today, the Mexican government offering a $3.8 million reward for El Chapo's capture.
He's reportedly earned billions of dollars using bribes and murder to help traffic marijuana, cocaine, and heroin into the United States.
He is responsible for killing tens of thousands of Americans on the streets of Chicago, L.A., New York, Miami, Milwaukee, and no doubt right where you live.
His power would make it almost certain no one would dare speak a word to Mexican authorities.
It might be very difficult indeed to dislodge him or arrest him because he's got a lot of bodyguards.
He's hiding, but what is he hiding in plain sight? I guess he goes to a remote island, maybe kills anybody who knows where he's at.
GRN reporter James Blear joins us from Mexico City. James, what's the latest in the hunt for this man?
Well, as you said, Greta, the 60 million peso reward, which is about $3.8 million. But the truth of the matter is the Mexican authorities haven't got a clue where Joaquin El Chapo, or as he's known in English, Shorty Guzman, is. The received wisdom would probably say that he's going to stay somewhere where he can be well protected and somewhere where he knows what's going on and can still be in control of the drug cartel. One clandestine Twitter actually said, quote, "The general is back." So the possibilities, and their only possibilities, are that he's in a stronghold, either in a mountain range in Culiacan, which is where he was born, grew up, and has lived most of his life, or perhaps in Durango, which is also in the north of Mexico. He would need to stay in Mexico more or less because the thing is that, and more than less, because he wants to retain control of the most powerful drug cartel, a conglomerate of business concerning illegal drugs, mostly into the United States, but up to 40 countries are now within his reach as far as the Far East. And so basically, the received wisdom says that Chapo Guzman is still in Mexico, but he's being very well protected, and he's at the moment somewhat inaccessible.
James, thank you. And tonight, presidential candidate Donald Trump is getting threats. The FBI now investigating threats attributed to El Chapo. So just how big a threat is the notorious drug lord? Senator Ted Cruz, also running for president, joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Greta. Always good to be with you.
Always nice to have you. Just on the thought of a fellow candidate for president, if El Chapo is threatening Donald Trump, should he get Secret Service? And I sort of harken back to when Senator Obama got Secret Service. It was in May it was two months earlier.
Right. Now, of course he should. Listen, El Chapo, these drug cartels are incredibly dangerous. They are transnational criminal operations. They are murderers. They are thugs. These are the same people that are smuggling people illegally into this country. In Texas, we deal with this all the time. We've got 1,200 miles of border with Mexico, and we see the ravages of these violent, murdering drug cartels. Assuming the evidence is there of a credible threat against Trump's life, absolutely he should get protection.
All right. Let me turn now to Texas, sanctuary cities. You have sanctuary cities in Texas?
Unfortunately, it has been a persistent problem, and it's been a problem. You've got often Democratic mayors who are elected from the far left and who decline to enforce the law. Now, it varies in terms of how brazen it is. It's not always as brazen as San Francisco is, but it's a problem when you have cities that are in the control of the Democrats and don't want to follow the law.
What's the thinking? Usually you think of law enforcement as being law enforcement. I was always on the defense side, and a cop and a sheriff was never easy on my clients for any reason. So it's hard for me to understand. Are they literally ignoring the law?
They disagree with the law, and so they're ignoring it.
And police?
Well, it's law enforcement who won't cooperate with the federal government. And I joined with a number of senators to introduce legislation saying that any jurisdiction that refuses to follow federal immigration law, that forms a sanctuary city, should lose their federal funding, that we should cut it off. And
so what's the problem? That's another problem. I guess immigration really is a federal government issue, and the federal government could easily write laws as the ones you've introduced and pass legislation to streamline it, to make it make a lot of sense, and to force people to comply with the law. But you don't.
Well, it's because the Democratic Party supports illegal immigration.
Illegal?
Yes.
Or do they want to change it?
They don't even call it illegal immigration. They've come up with this undocumented term because they don't acknowledge. I'm reminded of a famous exchange where Sonny Bono years ago, remember the former congressman, was asked, what's your view on illegal immigration? He says, well, it's illegal, isn't it? In 2013, the Obama administration released 36,000 criminals, people with criminal convictions who were illegal aliens. They released them publicly. 116 of them were murderers. They had homicide convictions. Over 15,000 of the criminal aliens the Obama administration released had convictions for drunk driving. These are Democrats that are endangering the security of this country by refusing to follow our laws, and it's wrong.
All right, quick 30 seconds on this Iran deal. Got your thought?
It is catastrophic. If it goes through, it will result in funding terrorism. It will endanger the lives of Americans. It will endanger Israel.
And if you're president, what do you do?
Repudiate it on day one. But we got 60 days to kill it in Congress, and everyone watching this should reach out to their members of Congress and say, protect our national security. To Democrats, don't use partisan loyalty to the White House. Stand up for the safety and security of America.
Senator, thank you. Nice to see you, sir.